everybody. Welcome to the Q&A event. I'm Tony Kosinek. This is Dina Levin. She's a senior student of Rav Lightman and studied Kabbalah for a long time. She's going to be helping us today sort out the questions, feed them to me in a way that I can understand them, which doesn't happen very often. Not because of her, but because of me.
Hello, friends.
Yes, she says hello.
Hello.
I want to welcome everybody, the KabU students and the people who are joining us, peeking in on YouTube, checking out what's Kabbalah about, what's it like when people study Kabbalah, what the heck's going on. I wanted to please ask you, as students, to in Zoom to turn your camera on, because I'm here with Dina. We can kind of feel you, but when we truly see you and we see you in your place, we can sort of feel what it is that you need. We can see what's going on with you, and it's a tremendous help to us and actually to everybody else too, because it evokes a kind of a connection, and answers really can only be pulled by need, and we've got to be able to feel what's going on with you. So rather than just showing your name, please turn your camera on. I'd like to get an idea with raising of physical hands, like people on camera. There still aren't very many cameras on, so I'm going to wait a little bit until
People are turning on.
They do light up. Yeah, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get a sense of who's in what semester. If you are not in Kabbalah Revealed 1 and 2, please raise your hand, so I get an idea of who's with us, who's watching, and what sorts of questions we'll be dealing with. I see one. Can you flip the screen so that we can see the second screen, everybody that's actually on camera? Keep your hand up if you're not in Kabbalah Revealed 1 and 2. Okay, good. Thank you. Is there another screen? That's everybody. Good. So for one of the most difficult things about acclimatizing to the study of Kabbalah it comes from the concealment that's involved as we begin and as we progress. Kabbalah is a combination of concealment and revelation. There's lots of ways to talk about this, but it's the thing that confounds our understanding, our grasp, let's say, more than anything else in the process, is our starting point. Our starting point is our mind. Our starting point is our self-concern. And when we try to grasp the fundamental concepts at the beginning of learning about Kabbalah, we're really hampered by the fact that we bring them in and filter them through an opposite understanding to what they actually are. And one easy way to understand this, I mean, it's easier than some other ways, is the principle of root and branch in Kabbalah. What this means, what this principle says, is that the world that we live in, that you and I live in, the sort of material world, our starting point in our journey towards revelation, that is the ability to see the greater reality and to live in it as it is, to reveal the light of life, actually. All of that is limited, and it is a world of outcomes. At our starting point, we can't initiate anything. The principle goes like this, that there is a level which is the root level of reality, and everything that occurs first occurs there, and then its outcome is felt on the egoistic level, the material world. So all of the language that we use in Kabbalah, and in fact, it's also the language of the Bible, is written this way. It's written in root and branch, and the words that we're dealing with and the concepts, the way that we're trying to grasp them, these are all branch. So our understanding is incomplete to say the least, and basically wrong. It's inverted. So when we hear words, when we hear about prayer, or when we hear about actions, or we talk about love, or we hear a name, all of these things are being interpreted in an opposite way. We are really not able to grasp the thing that we want to grasp. And this is what we're trying to learn in Kabbalah. We're trying to move from the level of pure egoistic reason, and to move above that, out of this world of outcomes, to the world of causes or roots. Because nothing can occur in this world that doesn't occur first in the upper world. And the learning of these concepts is to slowly dissemble the way in which we perceive, so that we can perceive beyond that. And so when you read all these things, and most of the questions that I get on the internet or in these sorts of events are always referring to the confusion that people feel because they are materializing their understanding, and they're looking to have this material logic fulfilled. And it's the basis of every misunderstanding. What a person learns to do is to be able to hear these words through enough experience, through enough unlearning of wrong presumptions, to eventually be able to change themselves, transform themselves, so that the way they hear, the way that they think, and the way that they act is completely in accordance with thoughts and actions, hearing and speech on the root level. Nothing that is said in any of the texts, or in any of the things that you've heard about Kabbalah, if it's real Kabbalah, if it comes from an authentic lineage, none of it refers to anything in this world at all. Nothing. It refers to the level of intentions, to the level of forces, which are intentions and desires. So in order to learn and go forward, we have to just take that as a given, take that as a premise, that if it's going into your logic first rather than into your heart, it's only a very small part of the picture. And what we're trying to learn is to move, to include the mind, but to move from the mind into the heart and into the pure connection with those qualities that we call the creative qualities of the root level. So let's take a look at that clip, Dima, and then we'll get to questions.
There is a dimension, a mechanism surrounding this world that manages and evolves us from the inanimate level of existence to the degree intended as life's fulfillment. And when we become capable of directly, internally sensing what nature's goal is, it becomes felt in us as our own purpose and the source of our happiness. And all the means that nature uses to get us there, the steps we go through along the way, and nature's ultimate goal are the meaning of life. But our problem is that we can't imagine what that kind of ultimate fulfillment could possibly be, because every fulfillment that we've ever known eventually disappeared. But that's only because we're on the opposite side of the wavelength of messages that the big mechanism is sending. We just don't pick up the signals. Well, actually we do, but we either disregard them or we feel them as something else. We're being evolved from the inanimate. What does inanimate mean? Are we talking about mountains and planets? Were you once a rock, now on your way to becoming some kind of a cosmic angel? What we need to understand is that the governing forces of nature aren't made of electrons, magnetic waves, gravitational forces, bosons. They're made of intentions. Impulse acting without dependence on matter. And the highest forces are attitudes and purposes, just like the mechanisms in our emotional makeup that steer our desires. Desire is nature's animating force. Intention and attitude determine what it does, what it creates. The outcome of what we experience as life with all of its inner and outer qualities. The needs we feel are all implanted in us by nature, but the thing that's being evolved in us is our ability to steer them in the same way that nature does towards its same goal. The inanimate level simply means that we haven't yet developed the sort of intention that allows us to do that. In fact, inanimate intention isn't really intention at all. It can only follow desire wherever it leads. We just exist, like a rock does. We change only when massive forces of nature impact us with difficult personal problems, illness, a hurricane, a sense of pointlessness in life, an earthquake. But our own intention is not to change, just to become comfortably hardened in the exact form of intention that we're in now. And that is like riding on a train facing backwards. We need to get ahead of this process to see where life actually leads. The fundamental intention behind the mechanism of nature is to provide for the needs of all of the life forms that it develops. And our fundamental nature is opposite. It's to fill ourselves with as much pleasure as we can. Now, that seems like a good match, but it's only the starting point for our journey of life. Because the balance between those two opposite intentions can either conceal or reveal meaning. The great gift of this concealment is that it provides us not just the desire, the need to know the purpose, but in fact, it is the means to uncover it. So how do we use these two opposite intentions to unwrap the mystery? What do we need to sense in us? And why does it make such a profound difference in our perception?
So let's get to the questions.
Let's start. We have lots of questions. Okay. So first question from Moshe on YouTube. He asked, does the real Kabbalah tell us the meaning of life? It seems that it explains different things, but doesn't give us a clear-cut answer about what life is for.
Yes, it does. Maybe you haven't heard it, but the purpose of life is imprinted in the blueprint seed of prior to all, let's call it creation, to all perception. And that is an intention. And that intention is the interface between the abstract light, which we really have no means of grasping at all in any way, the essence of the Creator, which Kabbalah does not speak about. It talks about the relationship. And in that first point of contact between the Creator and the creature is the template of everything that comes after that. It is the meaning of life itself, and it is the purpose of everything that occurs. And there's nothing that can happen or does happen for any other reason than this: to create a creature and to fill that creature with complete fulfillment. And everything that occurs in life follows this pattern. It's more complicated than that, but how that purpose of life, how that works for us, is that we are created opposite to the force that created us. We are a will to receive, and the force that created us are a will to bestow. And when after this will to receive was created, it went through a few steps, which we call the four-letter name of God, Yud Kei Vav Kei. It goes through a pattern, and that pattern repeats itself in absolutely every level, and it cascades down to a point where the will to receive becomes an independent creature, and at that point the upper light shatters it. And that shattering is that begins the cascading of all the worlds and all of the forces, both the physical ones and the non-physical ones, the ones on the level of intent, the spiritual ones. And though we were all created as a single creature, we now experience ourselves as myriad of individuals all at odds with each other. The humanity and all of the aspects of the physical creation, because the will to receive is the physical creation. There is no actual physical creation except this desire to receive. So the purpose of life is to go from an unconscious connection to the Creator, in which He filled us up and then shattered us, to a point where we come to a conscious connection with the Creator and understanding. So that means that we have to make choices and be able to invert our will to receive into a will to bestow, just like the Creator. And because we become similar internally to the intention behind all of creation, we then rise to that level. So the plan of creation is to, and the purpose of our life, is to first find ourselves at the farthest point from this intimate relationship with the force that created us, and to learn step by step to invert, to correct ourselves, and to bring together all of the shattered parts into a single creature again. And that single creature is then in relation to the Creator, and that we feel as pleasure at every step. We feel it either as challenge or as pleasure, but the ultimate goal is what was in that first thought behind creation, to create a creature, and the second part, to fill it with complete fulfillment. That's the purpose of our life, to become like the intention of the Creator.
We have a few live questions. That is
Good.
Great. Yeah. So first question is from Joe.
Hey, Tony and Dina and everyone. I just want to first say I am just so grateful for this experience. My question, it has two parts to it. I think I understand that we need opposites in order to understand life. But since there is none else beside Him, and He is the actor, are the concepts and our experiences of good and evil really part of reality, or just a part of our meager understanding of the Creator's actions on our behalf? And then the second part is, if there really is good and evil, can you elaborate on that and explain what we need to understand about it?
Good question. I'm going to start with the second part of the question first. There are two intended aspects of a single force. This force of development works on us through what Kabbalah calls the left and the right hand. So the right hand is what inspires us. It draws us close. It fulfills us, and we feel our will to receive in some way is fulfilled by it. The presence of the light that is greater than our capacity to, let's say, accept or nullify, internalize that light, not in order to receive for ourselves, but in order to bestow. If the light is greater than our capacity to do that, it's felt by us as evil. Now that's because there is nothing actually that exists but the light of the Creator. Nothing. So whether it is good or evil depends on what we're asking for and our preparation and past experience, the accumulation of experience to justify these acts of the light that's evolving us, and for us to feel it as good. The definition of the Creator, one of the definitions, because it depends on all of these definitions and names come from the attainments of Kabbalists, or like when a person experiences a certain thing and they know for certain it's confirmed in them that this is what it's like to rise to a certain level. That's called a name. So this is like a name of the Creator, the good who does good to the good and the bad. It's all good. And the light is always at rest and is always only doing that original thought of creation. Our level of development says to us what's good and what's bad. What happens, though, eventually, is that a Kabbalist learns to work with both the left and the right hand and to be stuck on neither of these. Eventually, what you'll learn to do is to work with what's called a third line, which is something that you will learn about in more detail in other steps in your progression in KabU, other semesters. And I'll just drop a hint for you because it's very beautiful, and it's called Above Reason. But simply what that means is to be able to see both the thing that's happening where the light is so strong, the surrounding light is so strong that we can't let it in, and we feel it as opposed to us because we're created opposite. You get to work to acknowledge that and to work above that. This is that above that's got to do with what I was saying at the beginning of the Q&A about the level of roots, the true creative level. Those are the places where we're bonded to the Creator and not stuck in either the left or the right hand that affects our will to receive and sort of coaches it along. I think that answers both parts of your question.
Okay, we have another live question. And we don't see the name. It appears as iPhone. So
I know that person.
Yeah.
Malcolm. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, good. First of all, I really want to thank you, Tony. I bumped into on YouTube and started watching your classes, and I couldn't get enough. I watched the whole series at once, like 6 hours. I was really inspired by the Kabbalah. So I have two questions, if I may. My first question is Kabbalah versus yoga. I know you brought it up in the past, but my question is that I know personally I had experience with yoga, and it seems to be that there's like authentic yogis and not authentic. And yoga claims to go back over 15,000 years ago, way before Buddhism or Hinduism. And it seems like they're able to reach a certain sense of enlightenment beyond ego. Is it possible that you can attain through yoga the same as you attain through Kabbalah? Or could it be the same thing?
It's not the same thing. There's only really one path, and that's the path of nature. It's the law of nature. There's no sort of separate spiritual path that goes here and another one that goes there. There's one destination, and it's really a matter of speeding up or just going with the flow. There is a fundamental difference between the approach of Kabbalah and the yogic approach. The yogic approach stills the will to receive, and its primary action removes a person from society and essentially in their practice. Not that there aren't ashrams in which people are working together and all that, but the essence of the thing directs a person to a place that is in which they're in touch with something, because we're kind of reducing the will to receive down to a level that is more like the vegetative level than the speaking level of the human. So there's plenty to be in touch with there. I mean, because the law of nature functions unconsciously on that level, just like it functions instinctively in an animal or in a plant, and we just call the raw forces of nature in rocks and things. But the point of human development and the speaking level, which is actually higher than the human animal, is about the conscious engagement with all of reality, all of it, without separating any part out, but to be completely engaged with bestowal to the entire system. There's no other place to go. Kabbalah uses that very law of the active law of nature, the giving part of the force of the light, and speeds up the progress of a person so that they get to that point, not having to be dragged there and evolved over eons. This, like, I have experience with meditation, but I don't have a deep extensive one. I only have a small comparison to make, and to me, the difference is the conscious engagement and annulment to the creator's will, in which one's own attitude and intention becomes one and the same with the creator's, and that's a very active thing. So to me, that presents a different thing. Method. The end result, I can't vouch for. I can't even vouch for the end result of Kabbalah because I'm not at the end. But I can tell you that the process itself is an opposite, a total involvement, an enlivening, an adventure. It's complete engagement with others, because it's the putting together of all of the separate parts, even over the fact that they appear that way. It's not, we don't get rid of them. We are able to unify them with our own intention of love despite their appearance. So to me, these are really fundamentally different things. And by the way, I don't believe that yoga is that old. I think they all evolved. It says that Abraham gave gifts to all his sons, gifts that went to the east, gifts that went to the west. It all comes from a similar source, and dates are not real. Dates aren't real. Dates are our sense of connection to our origin. They're not actual numbers, and they're not really time. So if you feel close to this, then that's close to your origin, and therefore it's older.
A question from Kaula on YouTube. What happens to me when I die? Why are so many people suffering in the world?
Well, what happens to you when you die? It depends on if you're trying to learn to attain your soul, the soul of which is a shared soul, then whatever you achieve on that level until you during this life, if you don't reach that complete correction, a person recycles. They come back immediately, and they eventually pick up from where they left off and continue. And why is there so much suffering in the world? The suffering is a projection of our own state. The suffering is there because you see suffering, because we cannot justify the actions of the Creator and are thinking only about protecting ourselves around our own self-interest. If we inverted that within us, then we would become righteous, and righteous means to justify the actions of the Creator. And it's not to say, well, he did something bad, but it's okay with me. It is to actually have our perception of reality change and to see this as just the movement of forces, all of them really good. And we don't feel the impact of these things on our ego when we are, which makes us see a world of suffering, when we are trying to evolve consciously and transform our will to receive into a will to bestow. You stop seeing a battleground and a war, and you see a garden. These things change within us, because all these things that we see outside, they're not outside. They're our own character, our own personal character of separation projected outward as though it were others with this attitude. But it's us. And the only place where these things can be corrected is within us, but it takes a methodology. It's not a self-help thing. It's a skill, and we learn it, and it's the law of nature, because it's the purpose of life, and we can learn it, but you have to learn how that law functions. We can't make stuff up. We have to use the law of nature as it applies to human awareness. That's what Kabbalah is.
Live question from Moshe.
Hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Thanks. You were talking about the sparks. Are those the 288 sparks?
Picture so I can see who's talking.
I'm not sure if it works. Can I be seen? No.
No, you don't seem to have your camera on.
No, I'm not completely sure if it works. But my question was, are you talking about the sparks, the 288 sparks?
Well, actually, yes and no. I'm talking very generally about a general pattern of development. Those 288 nitzotzot, and they have to be. A person has to look at that within very specific framework of the study of the upper worlds, how the worlds descended, how partsufim and worlds descend, how we what they actually are inside of us. So for me to say yes, it's that is an inadequate answer to a question that is really not aimed at a specific. But in the technical work itself, the idea of sparks, it has to do with more than just the shattering. I mean, it has to do with the shattering, but it also has to do with memories, how past states are felt in us, and what they become as we ascend. And in further semesters, you'll begin to learn from the introduction to the Wisdom of Kabbalah, which is a book by Yehuda Ashlag, in which you can learn the beginning of this framework, and there you'll find the specifics of that. But suffice it to say that the shattering is purposeful, it's good, and everybody here, let's say, is a spark of that shattering, still holding a memory of that initial state in which we really are one creature, and capable, under the right conditions, of reuniting into a creature over against the force of the Creator, and becoming truly the son of that force of light.
We have another live question from JC.
Can you all hear me? All right, I think it's working. I've got a question. Thank you for having me. Going on the second semester. My question is how can we kind of quickly identify the right hand of the Creator, the hand that pushes us away as we are striving closer, and know that it's, or feel that it's more that we're on the right path, and that it is, where we're supposed to be, compared to maybe some of the harsher adjustments, when we're not on the right path, that we're kind of getting the backlash from that. And because we eventually get there, we all get there eventually. The only thing that we can change, I guess, is the speed at which we get there and our development, by changing the environment for us to develop. How can we identify that development faster? I guess there's a few questions wrapped up in there, but I'll kind of leave it at that if it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Thanks for the question. First of all, we always feel that we're on and off. And as long as a person wants to be on the path, wants to grasp it, and grasp the correct direction, then it doesn't matter at all what the form is. It's always that we're either on target or we're off target. And even, maybe we're off target and we'll still get some type of something from the right hand. We'll still get some kind of an awakening if it's necessary. But ultimately, every pushback that we get, every doubt that we get, every sort of loss of faith or interest or heavy criticism of the path is only about helping us aim more accurately at the target. And the way that the reason why it's an important question that you're asking here is that these questions come up now because we're talking these two semesters Kabbalah Revealed 1 and 2 are only talking in principle, but without the methodology. Just explaining, basically what's going on and what's not going on. But in further semesters, you're going to get practical training in the place where you can make accurate measurements. We have to be doing this work actually with other people in some kind of a circle, and we have a way of doing that virtually, and you're gonna get to do it. See, we only come to the perception of the Creator and the love of the Creator through the love of others, through the love of friends, and that means that there has to be active work there in which everybody shares this same goal, and you keep and at least so you're in a good environment in that case. Not just that everybody's here studying, but they're sitting with you in some virtual sense. They're actually there, and you're in communication with each other. That you're going to get in the next steps. And you can compare what it is that you wish you could do, what you wish you felt, and you can measure your responses against the goal and against the field that everybody is holding, which is the same desire that you have. Now you've got something real to measure. So if you're looking for how you can do that right now and how you can speed it up and identify it, very, very hard. Right now, all you can do in these 2 semesters is look at how much do you want to learn more in the wisdom or not. What's happening to your sense of faith, or that this is like good or worthwhile. You can work with your doubt. But when you go into the intermediate stuff, if you choose to do that, then you're going to get some hands-on practical instruction that's really going to clarify this for you. And by the way, this is actually a good time for me to talk about this. We have an event coming up in September, and it is called the KabU retreat. It's very different from any other event that we do at all. It's not the same as a convention, even the international convention. This is a very intimate setting, it's kind of like a summer camp setting, and it's only for people who are at exactly your stage of development. And it's 3 days of taking the ideas and the concepts and making them absolutely practical, seeing how they actually work in your life. This is like a real simplification process that brings it into a place where you feel it on your flesh. So every event that happens, and put the slide at every event that happens in this retreat is only there to put you in contact with how the light works in human awareness. It's there to put you in touch with other people and to give you practical experience over 3 days in a very human and intimate setting. You get to know people really well. You get to work with the teachers that you have and that you've come to know, there were a lot of really special events and sort of surprises in this whole thing. But it's basically a boot camp. It's a place where you're going to get tools, either sharpen the tools you already have learned, but you're going to get them in a really practical way, and you're going to get to work on this stuff. So this is September 20th to the 22nd. It's in the Poconos, which is in Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful place, really lovely place in nature. All the teachers are going to be there. There are going to be a lot of friends that you may know just by seeing them online or in the forum. We'd love to have you there. I'll tell you, you will make more progress in terms of internalizing and seeing the practical nature of what you're studying there than you can really any other way. That will truly speed up your progress. So, and right now there's an early bird, put that thingy back up there. There's an early bird offer which will save you $100 if you're interested in going. So it's a good time to do it. And there's the link if you want to go to it. Also, actually, there's an event coming up on Tuesday. Let's put the other thing up. There's an event this coming Tuesday, which is a prep event. So if you want to decide whether this is something for you or not, and really get a more full explanation of what that is and how it might benefit you, or then go to this event, which is 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time this coming Tuesday, and I think there's going to be prizes, and it's a fun kind of thing. Okay, let's go to the questions.
Let's have Victor from YouTube asking. That's an interesting question. Can we consider the creator as an egoist because he wants us to delight him?
That's just a way that the ego can understand a process in nature. We don't understand things from the level of pure bestowal. The creator never changes. The light is still. In other words, it's always an only giving, supporting, evolving, and bringing to fulfillment. The idea of giving delight to the creator means that we copy his action. We learn to actually want what the creator wants for the same reason, and we do it not for ourselves but for the well-being of the entire system. That entire system and others ultimately is the creator. It means to bestow to others and to do the creator's action. It doesn't mean the creator doesn't need anything of ours, but this is what I mean by the language of branches. It has to speak to us where we are in a kind of trans-dimensional language that can at least get us aimed at the right continent. Like it's not even at the target, but it's in the general direction. The ego can understand that, but it's not speaking about anything egoistic. It's really trying to point us to the depth of how immersed we are, how completely opposite we are, and to get us to take all of that and transform it into the form that the Creator wants to bring us to.
Another live question from Ionut.
Am I asking?
You're muted.
Oh, I'm live now. So if I can't hear you when you're speaking while I'm actually probably live. The question would have been for the session earlier, but it has ended before I managed to ask. Is it how do I develop this sixth sense in order to achieve a higher spiritual way?
You develop the sixth sense by learning. You develop the sixth sense by learning the methodology of love your friend as yourself. That is a really hardcore methodology. That is what Kabbalah is. It's not just, okay, now I'm going to start thinking about loving my friend and I'll be nice to everybody. No, you need to continue studying in a systematic way, and all the material will be presented to you in order to evolve you naturally by your own choice, without coercion, so that you begin to stop perceiving the way you perceive now and begin perceiving a different kind of desire than you have now. This is a process. You have to learn it. You haven't, so far, nothing has been presented to you that is specifically that process. Right now, all that you're working on are the concepts that are different from the concepts that you've used most of your life. It's an unlearning process. In the next stages, in the next semesters, you will begin to work in a practical way and start to understand and identify in yourself what it is that needs to be changed. This is something we don't have. We don't sense that place in ourselves that's under development. We think that it's our egoistic sense. We think that it's our that it's ourself that's under development. But it isn't. It's all of us together. It is the creature as a whole that's under development. Right now, you're just at the foothills of beginning to sense what your part is in the creature. Next step in Kabbalah, which is a profound science and not a quick self-help thing, is to begin to learn the interaction that starts to reveal what the upper light is requiring of us, what needs to be changed, and also to learn how that change occurs, in relation to what, to whom. It's not in relation to ourselves, it's in relation to others, and to specifically to others in a kind of a simulator experience, so that everybody gets the training and knows how to do this process. After that, the beginnings of this other sense, and it's kind of romantic to talk about it as a sixth sense. What it truly means is a sense of what spirituality actually is and what it requires of us, and the ability to want that. Once we want that, that desire begins to transform us. It becomes a natural process, but we have to be engaged with it consciously. What you will be learning is how to engage consciously with this. And you need both the strong desire that you obviously have by asking this question twice in 2 events, and you have to put that together with patience, and to understand you're learning a science. It's deep, it's profound, and there's a lot to it. And you have to learn to simplify it and feel it within your own being. So that's how.
And Johnny on Facebook from South Africa asking, there are many mainstream and well-researched documentaries on spirituality and old cultures, but none that I have seen mentioned Kabbalah. Why?
Well, usually the ones that mention Kabbalah say that it's evil. They're usually pretty weird things. Well, we're the only ones, I think, who are... There are some places that, there's plenty of material on Kabbalah. Most of it inaccurate. Why nobody has done a documentary about it is because nobody understands it. All those documentaries about the greatness of various spiritual paths are all done in order to satisfy the egoistic perspective of spirituality. It's difficult to talk about Kabbalah because it requires such a profound change in the person. So most of Kabbalah is as concealed as the Creator itself. We don't see the Creator because the Creator bestows and wants us to develop. So the Creator, that force of bestowal is hidden, and all we see is what we want to see according to our ego. Kabbalah is like that. It's concealed because a person has to have a certain kind of a desire in the first place to understand that they want to correct themselves, to have some sort of spark, sensation, point in the heart that tells them that there is this loving force, and it is attainable to the degree that humans can attain it. That's not apparent to the will to receive. It's unlike talking about a religion. It's unlike talking about having superpowers of some sort, through, levitation, yogic, or it's not like that. It's so interwoven into the laws of nature itself that it is the law of nature. So people just don't see it. I think maybe you should study completely, and you do a documentary on it. At least you have an inkling of what it is and who to ask.
Okay, so Jensen asks us, when I'm feeling heaviness and despair, is there a specific article in Shamati that can help bring me back?
Very nice. Yes, you see, the books are very important. The articles in the books are extremely important for us because they give us the target. They are written from such a high place of attainment by the Kabbalists who wrote them, that even without our understanding, just with our desire to know, they fill us with a kind of light on the level in which we need it. Not that there isn't plenty for the intellect, because there is. Kabbalists know how to talk to people in such a way that you begin to, it works both within reason and above it. That article would be none else besides him. That's Shamati number 1. And yes, you're studying, and I'm talking about stuff, and it's like nice and abstract, and I can relate it to your life, and make it relevant to you. But ultimately, a person needs to have a relationship with the books, and it's impossible to study this without the books, because they're beyond simple explanations. They require your deep involvement, and something very special happens with a book, especially a book that's printed on paper, where the dark letters and white background. There's a root for that in spirituality, and all of our courses have books related to them. And let's take a look at the slide about the books, because as students, there are certain book packages that are part of your curriculum. For Kabbalah Revealed Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 has 3 books in it, and Part 2 has 2 books in it. These books, just about all of those books, I use constantly, and all of Rav Lightman's students use these constantly, both in the daily lessons that happen, and just for personal work, and for and to check and refresh, and to find ourselves back in the path, and to get a sense of where we actually are. You should have these. Like, if you can't afford them, you can't afford them. You can get these books, are available as ebooks, but actually having it with you is an important thing. So you can get these books right now at a 20% discount as students. There's a code or a coupon, and our friends will put it in the chat for you. And it's important to use them. The Kabbalists are called the people of the book for good reason. Okay, so explain what we're going to do.
Okay,
This
so we'll have a blitz. We have, I keep forgetting, is it 3 minutes?
There it is, 3 minutes.
3 minutes, yes. Yeah. We have 3 minutes, and we'll see. We have lots of questions, and we'll see how many questions Tony can answer in 3 minutes. And I'm writing it down. Okay, so let's start.
Quick!
Is the sixth sense buried inside us by the Jewish God?
No, it's outside of us.
Why am I writing this? Is it because I want it? Is it my free will?
It feels like your free will, but everything comes from above. And you got to find how that's so, and then become one with that.
Do you recommend that we learn Hebrew?
If you want to, yes. There's things that Hebrew is a multidimensional language, and it helps to know it. It should not be a barrier for your study, though.
Will I notice if I'm in spiritual world?
Yes, you will notice, because it will be a decision.
Is Kabbalah just receiving the mystical interpretations, or are there actual practices?
There is a methodology. There are no external practices, so to speak, and it's not just receiving. It's an active approach.
Why do some people not feel the good?
All people don't feel the good.
Why does Kabbalah suggest for people experiencing addiction? What does Kabbalah suggest to people experiencing addictions to alcohol, drugs, to transform into opposite healthy direction?
Addiction is addiction to the will to receive in some form or another. There are medical and psychological ways of doing that. A person should go to a doctor or to a place that deals specifically with that, and separate that from their work in spirituality. That way you won't confuse things.
Wow. What is blasphemy?
Blasphemy is thinking that there's evil.
Do we ever stop existing? Do I have a choice to stop existing after I die? Maybe I don't want this crazy, crazy life circles.
No, you don't have a choice.
Does Kabbalah have any specific tools to address the unfolding climate crisis?
Yes, change yourself. That will change everything.
What are the spirits of the afterlife that people experience here on earth?
They are their will to receive.
how Kabbalah defines suffering.
Ow!
Why do some people not feel the spark?
Because it's latent, but it will open in them as well.
Can you teach spiritual awakening? My challenge is to awaken all without telling and speaking.
Well, that's what we are doing, but I don't get the second part of your question, but I love you anyway.
Can you explain how the Creator worked together to 10 Sefirot?
10 Sefirot are...
through to 10 Sefirot.
The 10 Sefirot are the human sense organs outside of the ego, and that's where we feel the Creator.
How do you judge a person's stage of development?
Person has to do that for himself.
What happens if you love someone more than you love yourself? Oh, okay.
Then you're in good shape.
Okay. So, let's see. First of all.
That was easy.
That's what you think.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 questions. I think, Tony, that's your best.
No, I had 16 ones.
16?
Yeah. I'm lying.
Maybe you're answering
I'm
yes
lying.
or no.
I never had 16.
That's with the yes or no answers.
Yeah.
Probably. Okay, let's see what we have here. We have live question from Julia. Julia, please.
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Julia.
Yeah, my main question is why I find it hard to fit in with people. It's almost I can see through people, and it has caused me huge issues all my life. And I've had a few out-of-body experiences which basically scared the life out of me. I didn't understand. I'm now 51 and now looking for answers.
Thank you. Thank you for that very honest question. All right, there's two things in your question. First of all, there is a thing at our core which came from the initial creation of the creature. Kabbalists call it the heart of stone. That is the absolute core of the will to receive, the opposite nature to the Creator. Everybody has that at the very bottom of what we are. And it means that everybody's a loner. Some people are acutely aware of that, and some people, are less affected by it because they learn how to act out in a different way, or they're more satisfied in their will to receive by the types of fulfillments, shallower social fulfillments. Not that they're good fulfillments. There are desires, about love, family, money, and social connection and power and all. These are they give us pleasure, but some often very serious people are sort of closer to the bottom of that place, which is the truth of what humans are, what the creature is. So you're not, though you feel very alone in that, you're not alone in that. That is the condition, that's the starting condition for doing the work. A person has to feel that and to really, truly recognize that that's so. Otherwise, there is no desire to change that. What Kabbalah teaches is how to break that shell and how to move out of it. And it takes effort. And in that effort, that's where spirituality becomes revealed, because spirituality is exists in the connection between you and other people. Not in you and not in me, but in what's between us right now. That field between us is where the Creator is speaking and connecting us. So doing this work is how a person moves out of it. The fact that you've come to the point that you realize this and that you want to go out of your body. What is your body? Your body is your will to receive. It's your ego. And when you get an experience like that, that is an awakening that tells you you are more than that. But what's the more? People make up all kinds of crazy nonsense about what that more is. They talk, astral projection and all this stuff. No, it is the will to bestow. That objective reality that's not imprisoned within what we think of as our separated selves. that objective, beautiful fullness of life, that is in the desire to give. And that's where we feel good. That's where we feel free. That's when we stop thinking about ourselves. We stop thinking about that heart of stone, and we feel ourselves evolving towards that. You were given a gift to say that there's something beyond it, but it was a good gift, and it's just showing you the difference between the qualities of the spiritual world and the qualities of the physical world. Even if you were scared, the only reason that you might have been scared, maybe you weren't, maybe it was a great pleasure to you, but even if you were scared, it's only because of our desire to cling onto our separation. Again, not something just happening to you. We're all loners because we were all shattered in that original shattering, and we want to hold on to that and cling to it. What we need to learn is how to desire to be the opposite to that. I could go on, but I shouldn't.
Daniel from YouTube is asking, what is the method for checking if you're acting in egotistical manner?
Well, you know what? You have to try a lot of different things. At this stage, like I've already said that, eventually you will come to work in a circle of people, and then the measurement meter will become very clear to you. You'll get angry and you'll criticize and all that. But right now, I think you can still catch all of those things, and you need to experiment at this stage. Watch yourself. You can watch other people too, because other people are you. And just watch and see if you can track it in yourself when you feel that you are desiring to connect and think about other people, and when you're not, when you're acting specifically within the will to receive. Check it out, because this kind of a discernment takes a lot of orbits. That's why patience is important. You have to start now, start checking, looking, saying, I think that's it. No, that's not it. Oh, this is it, because something else will be presented to you. As long as you're trying to do this, the light is going to continually present you with different things that you're going to need to evaluate, and it's going to hit you. It's going to hit you in your gut, and you're going to say, well, what is that? Where is that? Is it yes? Is it no? Just have to start.
And we have live question from Amy.
Hello, all friends. I just wanted to talk about this idea that there is none else besides him. And I think Rob Lightman and Julian have given us this exercise before in Kabbalah experience to go about our day and try to maintain constant contact with the Creator. And wow, what a powerful experience and exercise. And I guess my question is, and I hope this makes sense, if I am trying to correct the highest level of desire, to love my friend as myself, will that correct? It's said that loving your friend as yourself should correct all the other desires below, like the vegetative and all of those, externally and internally. And I guess my question is, if I'm trying to see the Creator and everything, if I'm walking outside or if I'm eating, when I'm trying to love others as myself, will that intention spill over into the lesser desires? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there is only one central issue, and that's prayer for others, like concern for others. That is the Creator's attitude towards the creation. And it's the only issue that we need to work on. First of all, it's an interesting exercise to think about, relating to the Creator without relating through people, because you will see that it's almost impossible to hold on to. You'll have moments, but it's going to disappear, because the only way in which that can become a kind of steady state, or close to that steady state, is that one has to be working with the emotive stuff that happens inside of us on a constant basis. We can't be taking ourselves out of it and trying to relate to the Creator without relating to the medium that the Creator is presenting to us through people. People engage us full scale. They are us in the sense that they touch every aspect of us from the lowest kind of desire to the highest desire, and there is an interplay that engages everything. When you engage everything and you're giving everything, or you're attempting to give everything, that's when we see the Creator in everything. And none else besides Him is both outside of us and is also inside of us. And we're trying to, the only way that we can feel that is through relating to people and not abstracting it. That's why I told in the question before, try. Even though that exercise is like a no-win exercise that you described, it leads you to the place that you understand you can't do that alone. Thank God, because the place that we're going to is about not alone. It's about connection. It's about the goodness of connection, the fullness, the pleasure, the true pleasure. But if you work on the single issue, it corrects everything else. It all ripples down. It only depends on your intention, not on your action, and not really very much on your thoughts at all. You're not in control of your thoughts.
Okay, and another live question, this time from Joe. I think we had, okay.
Tony, in a previous question, you mentioned that the Creator doesn't need anything from us, but it seems like our relationship with Him, it for me, it evokes a sense of worship. And we certainly see that in churches everywhere. Maybe another way of putting it is wanting or experiencing the Creator as our beloved. Can you speak to that, please?
Well, what is the question precisely about that? Is it that you feel that the Creator does require that of us?
It seems to evoke that in us. Is that part of our reception, our will to receive? Is that something we want to feel? Or is it like a sincere giving to Him, back to Him?
That is not giving to the Creator, but it is required for our growth. What it is the sensation of the greatness of the Creator. That is, that basically that there is none else besides, that everything, it's a feeling that we have that is, like you say, you could call it beloved, but it's like we sense the greatness of the nature of the Creator's desire, of the Creator's quality. It is awesome. It inspires us, and without this, without having that sensation, you can't really do the work. You have to continually try to return to that. Of course, the Creator will kick you off that. The force will push you away. It'll make you lose faith. It'll blind you, because if you had that on a constant basis, you'd become a robot. You would not reach the place of choosing that and giving a place, a need. You have to have a need for the greatness of the Creator. That need for the greatness of the Creator creates the desire in you to be like that desire, to care for others, to understand that you can't do that without the help of the upper force, meaning also without other people. And that creates a vessel in us. We taste the greatness of the Creator, and then He takes it away, so that we will consciously ask for that and not want it to be just given to us. When we're responding that way, to say, I don't even care if you fill me or not. I simply want your greatness, meaning the ability to do towards others what you do. That is bestowing to the Creator, because we're doing the Creator's work at that point, whether we receive anything or not. And that's how the Creator hides from us. The Creator doesn't receive anything. So we don't see the Creator on the level of the will to receive, or in the level of the world of branches or outcomes.
So it's actually our next question is kind of in a flow with that. So Tommy's asking, approximately how long does it take for a man to attain the first degree of 125 degrees?
Well, 125 is really a qualitative word measure. It's not a numeric one. It depends on the society that you're in, the strength of the society, what they've attained so far. In a sense, there's an inheritance. You just naturally absorb what the Kabbalistic group has attained, acquired, or what unifications have been done prior to you. So it can happen very quickly if you engage fully in the study and in one or two events and things that where you get to go and experience these things. And I'm not trying to sell these things to you. I'm telling you that it's the greatness of the king is in the multitude of the people, which means when you see, when you immerse yourself into seeing that it's not just you that has this thing, there's an actual sphere of human experience in which reality appears that way to these people, so does it to you, and you inherit this. So it used to be that it took a very long time for people to get to it, it took like 10 years or something for people to evolve to that place. But we're seeing people coming in now who very quickly go to the level of the international group, like the people all over the world studying and on a constant basis. They sort of grasp some aspect of that level very quickly. So it can happen, 2 to 5 years or something like that, and you can even have awakenings even before that. But even the small awakening is so different than the life we generally lead. It's so fulfilling that it's the end of correction is when we're all one. So the first level is to understand what spirituality is in you and to begin experiencing that to some degree. That can happen quickly.
And we have a live question from Pavel. I have a note here that he has no camera. So Pavel, let's hear.
Can you hear me? Oh, hello?
Yes, go ahead, Pebbles.
Okay, thank you. No, I chose not to put the camera on, sorry. But my question is, hold on, because I wrote it down in chat. I'm going to ask, the second question has like just a couple of like what ifs. So if this is something that we're supposed to attain and evolve to, why do some people get this knowledge at a young age versus some people getting this knowledge at an older age, or some having to wait other lifetimes for it? I mean, doesn't everyone have the opportunity, or is everyone given that opportunity? Because even though I know, we have a journey and a path, but we also have decisions. So for a person like me who has come through trial and error, but yet still was able to the other side, why must it take so long for some and not for others? Is it because of the life choices we're supposed to have? Like, does it mean that once you advance through the Kabbalah and you come back in another lifetime, if you become a teacher, then if you continue on from where you left off, like how does that work?
Yeah, okay, so that's a compound question. If a person attains their correction, the correction of their own soul within this lifetime, they don't return to the will to receive. A person becomes a teacher in the current lifetime. A person can attain all of it in one lifetime. What's after that and what that reality is like, I'll send you a postcard. I really don't know, but everybody has has access to it. And like everything else in the whole system of nature, things evolve according to what's best for them. And ultimately, it's the being caught up in judging the development of other people is a kind of a trap. If you really look at the situation, like in what you have in your hands, all you've got is what happened to you in the past, what brought you here, and the fact that you are here and you're at the beginning of the path. That's all that there is. The other people's stuff, you don't get to experience any of that. You get to experience your attitude towards other people where you are in your development, and there's nothing holding you back. You have an open door, open gates in front of you. All you have to do is engage with it and give yourself to the greatness of the path and do it. And it will happen. And the condition of everybody else that you're now trying to measure your development against, that disappears, because it becomes clear that your development is actually the development of the entire creature, experienced in you. It's like your perspective on the development of the entire creature. Even if it appears that some people over there are just planning their next bank robbery, in you, that's not what's going on at all. You're raising the entire creation with you. You just have to understand what our inner nature actually is. It's not what we think it is. It's not us separated from other people. It's our take, our cog in the field of the single creature. And we have work to do in that. So it doesn't involve time and separation the way that it appears to us at the beginning of the path. And by the way, if you are watching this, or if you've got friends who aren't studying now, or if you're watching this on YouTube and you're interested in this, there's another course that starts on the 25th of August, and it begins with Kabbalah Revealed 1 and 2, and it's open to anybody. The beginnings of this study are basically free, in the sense that we don't ask any tuition. We don't put up a barrier for people to come and study. We have a completely different model for this. We ask, pay what you wish. If it's worth something to you, if you can afford it, then it costs us about $25 per person per semester to run this. If you can't do it, you don't have to do it. If you can only afford $5 or something, do that. If you want to help support other people, do that. And there's all kinds of options that you'll see once you sign up, that you can pay once, $5, $10 or whatever. There's different modes that you can do it. You can help other people in an ongoing way. Totally up to you for Kabbalah Revealed 1 and 2. The wisdom of Kabbalah is meant for the correction, the healing of humanity, and so we don't put up any barriers there. But we do, obviously, we've got like servers, and even though a lot of the work is done by volunteers, we have these hard costs so that we can do events like this, and I'm sure you understand that because you live in this material world along with the rest of us. Okay. Gilgit said, "Wow, has the Blitz ever improved?" Why, thank you, sir. Thank you. Got a question?
Yeah. Okay. So Seymour is asking, how important is the family unit for spiritual development?
Well, it's interesting. The family is let's say a corporeal model of the kind of selfless attitude that we need to reach. A man, like a father, has to give everything that they've got in order to make certain that everybody is taken care of. And ultimately, we want to treat our children and our spouse with the utmost kindness and acceptance, right? And that makes us happy, and it makes them happy. And the corporeal model is that we wish we could stop thinking about ourselves. So it's like a nice model of a world that if we actually learn to bestow, there you'd see that goodness in spirituality right away. Of course, we don't function that way. We are sort of forced by nature to take that kind of attitude. That's true with women and childbirth. That it is a kind of a natural thing, like this love, this unquestionable sacrifice myself, anything for the child is implanted in her and also in the father to a much smaller degree by nature. But it's like that. Imagine if we actually attained that through choice. Well, you're a mother. What's the difference between the situation in the family and the situation of working that way towards spirituality?
Oh, very different, actually. You know, I have been in my family. Both of us, we have been on this path for more than 10 years now, and our son was born into that environment. It's amazing. First of all, as a couple, I think the main thing for us, it's just that there is this goal that kind of brings you together, and it's above all the corporate issues, problems. There's something more than that. So all the issues, of course, we're dealing with as everyone, you know, on everyday level with all this stuff. But you always, there's this feeling that it's something more, and that everything can be solved in a proper connection between you. And that's a great tool to deal with really anything that comes your way.
Is it hard to do that?
It is, yes, of course. Sometimes it's really hard. It's really hard because also, you know, you expect, it's kind of because you both in this boat, and you know how to work, and you know, so you expect from your couple kind of you know, giving up more and doing more than maybe in some other situation. But it's amazing. It's really, we've it's been proved to us that any situation can be really solved when we go into this proper, deep, real connection with each other. So
yeah, and I think it's like when you know that the other person really wants to get to that place too, and it's not only about whatever the problem is in front of you, it's also about the fulfillment of your life, like the purpose of everything. It sort of sits above the family, and it really bestows on the family. It really kind of helps the whole family situation. Okay.
Okay.
You made me think about all my family problems.
Let's go to live question from Nemi.
Hello. Yes. My question was of when sometimes when I read the articles and stuff, I would hear Rav saying something like, without being personally involved. Like, for instance, like the old lessons that I used to attend with my Kellogg, they used to say that, okay, you can, come to the lesson. Then afterwards, you can go, grab a few beers with your friends and whatever, just go back to life as normal. Like in terms of your personal life, your personal corporeal life, and your spiritual life, like do the two have to be intertwined, or does one have to be involved in the other, vice versa? How do we deal with that? Thanks.
Should be a natural process. I mean, basically, we do and get involved in things that we are naturally attracted to, and if the spiritual desire grows, then it eclipses the other desires. You shouldn't take yourself out of of natural relationships or friendships. You don't impose boundaries on anything. This is not about separation. It's about the connection of things. They may change for you. You may feel that you want to spend more time one way or another. But there's no guideline, because if a person doesn't desire in a certain direction, they won't be able to fulfill it anyway. We're trying to learn to evolve a desire. And anyway, you can evolve spiritually and still be good to your friends. I think for the most part, the thing that happens is it becomes a question of time. How much time do you have for this? How much time do you have for that? But I'll go for a beer with you. Of course, we might end up talking about articles, and you wouldn't like that.
We have someone, unfortunately, we don't have the name, just the number here. But on Zoom, you mentioned that this pay what you wish.
Yeah.
So someone is asking, if I want to pay for myself and put some extra, is a kind of scholarship. Is that all right?
That's great. That would be really wonderful. You know, if you've got a little more, help somebody else. Yeah. The scholarship thing. Yes, it actually does work that way because it helps offset costs, so that if there are a lot of people who can't afford, then we can still, you know, we're not running, you know, into a deficit or something. So sure, that would be very appreciated, and it's you know, do that act and see what that means to you. Is that giving? Is it not giving? I'm not going to give you the answer to that. But yes, it's appreciated, and it's good to think that way and to try it out.
Let's go to the live question from Advin.
Unmute, please.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Tony, what I'm saying is I coming from a Christian background. And when you mentioned that the Bible is talking about like a symbolic symbols in a way, are you referring to the Old Testament, to the 5 first books of the Bible, or the Old and New Testament as well? And this kind of lead me to a second question, which is, Jesus was a Kabbalist or was a Kabbalist message? Because when I reading some of the miracles or the life of Jesus, it's talking like things that related to the Kabbalah teachings. And the other thing is, when we see that, which I think the answer is not an historical value in that, is all a meaning of words. That's my question.
Yeah. Yes. Well, it's not an historical value. Yeah. It's not places. It's not people and places. It is the evolution of desire and intention on the part of humans, humanity. The Old Testament is all language of branches. Now, I'm going to say something in relation to my own research. There are aspects in the New Testament that are somewhat root and branch as well, but it's not consistent. And that's not the word of Kabbalah. That's me just spouting off. But there are many essential teachings attributed to the name Jesus that are Kabbalistic. And by the way, Kabbalists say that he studied at the Sanhedrin school, which is a Kabbalistic school. The Sanhedrin, the great assembly of sages. Then there's all kinds of permutations about what happened after, and all that is not. This is not necessarily an historical thing. It's just that there is there is this cascading from above downward, and it reaches people where they are according to their culture, according to their need, and according to the point of development. The good of this is that there are so many people in the world that all feel that the essential message of the Creator's attitude towards the creatures and the way in which we come to know the Creator is shared by people right across the planet. And it was all inherited from that point of creation through Abraham, through the generations of the Bible, through the generations of the New Testament, through the generations of Islam, out into the Enlightenment and science. All that language is just representation of that light behind life and the way in which it best speaks to the heart of the person. It's not a comparison. It's like you start out and you have brothers, and then you have cousins, you got uncles, you've got cousins that are twice removed. That's all that is. It's just the light speaking in such a way that it eventually touches everybody, and we're all brothers in that channel that came through the Bible, because there is only one law and one path, and that's the law of nature, and that's what's in all of those. Either it's like more or less accurate, but it's all aiming at the same thing. So with that wonderful question, we're going to wrap up. We've got a few announcements.
I can't believe that it's been an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So fast. Friends, we have dozens of questions we were not able to get to. And it's great to see you so involved and engaged, and it really makes us feel great, I think.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And so you can ask these questions in the KabU form, and they'll be answered there. We have a few announcements. So next semester starts on August 25th, 2019. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook and you want to sign up for the course, you can do that. See the links in the chat. Pay what you wish tuition. If you want to participate in the course tuition or simply support the spreading of the wisdom of Kabbalah, you can do so on Pay What You Wish page. Books. If you are in Kabbalah Revealed 1 or 2, you can get your course book package with a 20% discount. Links again in the chat. And as we mentioned earlier, KabU retreat. The 2019 KabU retreat this September 20 to 22nd, and okay.
Poconos, in the Poconos!
Poconos Springs Camp, New York. Early bird tickets now available. Get your tickets at theretreat.kabbalah.info. KabU retreat preparation. Live Q&A session, that's important. This coming Tuesday, July 30th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 Pacific Time. We will be holding a live Q&A session in order to prepare for the KabU retreat in September. This event will take place on the page retreat.kabbalah.info/live. You will get all these links in the chat. Thank you very much, friends, and see you next time.
Thank you, and thank you to all of the friends around the world who helped put this production together. There are friends in New York, there are friends in Israel, there are friends in Canada. They're all, you don't see them, they're hidden like the Creator, and they're helping put all of this together. None of it would happen without the connection between us and their desire to share all of this with you. So thank you, friends, and thank you everybody who joined us on YouTube and who asked questions.
We will become together as one. We'll be forever connected. Всю силу любви хотим обрести, объединившись навеки. ולא חשוב מה שקורה בחוץ, כי העיקר נמצא בינינו. Cuando nos unimos juntos, nuestro amor gobernará. Hey, hey, rise above and feel the love inside. Hey, hey, busca el luz también Sky. Hey, hey, de corazones unidos, acaba Oshe por el Bakli. Hey, hey, rise above and feel the love inside. Hey, hey, busca el luz también Sky. Hey, hey.